over the past couple of years, Disney has really shown their true colors. They don't care about freedom of speech. They don't care about protecting their employees. They just care about appealing to the masses. And if that means appealing to their brand new modern audience, they will kick anybody else to the curb. They fired somebody like Gina Carano over her speech. And now, of course, the left is absolutely wrecking Disney for getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel. And all we're really doing is pointing and laughing. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, of course, over the past couple of years, we have seen anybody who is not on the far left being attacked and being fired, and really just not having as many opportunities as the woke individuals that are in industries like Hollywood and video games. And we constantly call these companies out for their DEI hiring practices. And of course, we're always called racists and sexists and homophobes for not wanting certain people to have more opportunities than others. Though, now that Jimmy Kimmel is facing some consequences of his actions over his statements about Charlie Kirk, the left is now saying they are going to be boycotting Disney, while the right is already boycotting Disney. And it really leaves you wondering who's even going to support Disney at this point. So if you didn't hear, this was breaking news yesterday. Jimmy Kimmel was pulled off of ABC by Disney after spreading misinformation about the alleged Charlie Kirk killer. Now, there are going to be those people out there who say, oh my gosh, this is so unfair. And sure, if we were talking about everybody having an equal opportunity to actually exercise freedom of speech, then I would say it's unfair. But at the same time, we are talking about really a decade plus of people who are not on the far left being fired over their words, being fired over their opinions. And now that the same thing is happening to people on the left, they are saying it is unfair, and they're talking about how much they care about freedom of speech when they haven't for the past decade. They've gotten people fired over jokes, over quips, over statements, over their opinions. And that's why I'm not going to shed a tear for someone like Jimmy Kimmel. Now, I'm personally not going to call for these people to be fired, but that doesn't mean that they're going to get my support or my money. It's like with Ghost of Yote. I obviously do not agree with really anything that surrounded that project, from them changing the main character from Jin Sakai to Atsu. I do not support Erika Ishii, who, by the way, is self-proclaimed Antifa. Wonder how that's going to go down for Sony. And obviously, I do not support these developers' statements and these like lame attempts and really just violent, degenerate attempts at like jokes. But I'm not going to call for them to be fired. I'm perfectly fine with these people actually making all of these statements. You know why? Because it means we can call them out easier. It means that we can actually see how they really feel. Because over the years, they've said, oh, you guys are all conspiracy theorists. This is all in your head. You see woke everywhere you go. You think everybody who's not you is a radical leftist. Well, now we actually have proof, and now we actually have evidence. So they can say these things, but also that just makes it easier for us to not monetarily support them. And we've known for a very long time that Jimmy Kimmel has basically just become a politically correct propaganda machine for the, well, in Biden's case, government, with all of those like vax skits, which was so cringe and just really so terrible. Now that he is, not able to say everything that he wants completely unchecked, he's a bit pissed off. So in a stunning development, Disney and ABC have yanked Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely following intense backlash over Kimmel's offensive and misleading commentary on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, in the case of Jimmy Kimmel, right, we are talking about misinformation being spread to an extremely large audience, which is a major problem. During his Monday monologue, Kimmel accused conservatives of trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, which was claiming the suspect was a Trump supporter, which, first of all, is just insane. If he was a Trump supporter and he generally agreed with Charlie Kirk's stances, why would he want to kill Charlie Kirk? I mean, I don't know, having multiple gay furry lovers probably doesn't point to him being a Trump supporter. I'm just going to go off on a whim and say that. He doubled down with a swipe at President Trump's grief, sneering, "This is not how an adult grieves the murder of somebody he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?" Which is, of course, terrible. Everybody grieves in their own way. It's like the people saying that, "Oh, Erica Kirk didn't respond the right way." That's disgusting. She is a widow who has to go through the trauma for the rest of her life of clicking on social media and having these types of mentally ill people always tagging her in those videos and resharing that video of what happened to her husband. Like, have some general sympathy for a human being. These people who claim to be tolerant are nothing like that. It says, though, that Nexstar, the nation's largest owner of local television stations, announced it would no longer broadcast Jimmy Kimmel Live on its ABC affiliates for the foreseeable future. Now, what I think is most funny about the situation is that exactly a month ago, Jimmy Kimmel bought a $7.8 million mansion and he paid $600,000 over the asking price. So I think that he's probably going to have to apologize. Now, if he truly will, I don't know, but I just have a sneaking suspicion that judging by his recent purchases and judging by the life that he lives, he is probably going to have to beg for this show back. Now, faced with mounting pressure, Disney-owned ABC followed suit, confirming that the program will be preempted indefinitely. While Disney and ABC stopped short of saying Kimmel has been fired or canceled, the indefinite suspension amounts to the most severe punishment yet for the late-night host, whose ratings have been sliding for years. I can't remember a time over the past couple of years where I've seen a modern or recent Jimmy Kimmel clip and thought it was funny. Sure, there are clips from like The Man Show when he was a completely different person that I thought were funny, but nothing new, that's for certain. And of course, now, not only are the left-leaning individuals very upset over this, but Disney, of course, has been facing backlash from conservatives and libertarians for years at this point. I mean, we saw Gina Carano be fired over her statements and her opinions and ultimately jokes she made, like with the beep boop bop bio, which some people interpreted to mean that she was mocking the pronouns that social media users include in their profiles. However, she later claimed on X that beep bop boop has zero to do with mocking trans people and insinuated that she was referring to the Star Wars character R2D2. So they were very upset about that. We, of course, have seen her be very vocal when it comes to things like voter fraud and COVID-19. Ultimately, she was fired over her statements about conservatives in the US and the way that they were being treated. And these people, these, again, leftists, were praising this decision by Disney. They really thought that this mega billion-dollar corporation really cared about their sexuality or their gender or their identity, which is already insane in of itself. These companies don't care about you, they care about your wallet. But now they're saying they've been betrayed, and this is absolutely horrendous. So not only do we have the right boycotting Disney, but now we got the left boycotting Disney, and no matter what they do, they've put themselves into a very dangerous situation because ultimately there are going to be people who are going to be upset with them no matter what they do. Boycott alert, Disney and ABC just caved and pulled Jimmy Kimmel for political reasons. Nexstar, which owns the CW and 200 plus local ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox stations, is part of the same machine. Boycott Disney, boycott Nexstar, boycott their advertisers, hit them where it hurts, the money, reshare. We are not talking about Jimmy Kimmel saying that, oh my gosh, Charlie Kirk was ugly, or oh my gosh, Charlie Kirk had bad opinions. We are talking about spreading misinformation intentionally because this had already been 5 days after his assassination and then going and double downing and laughing at it. That's what is different with all of these situations versus, oh my gosh, it being protected by freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is not protecting hate speech. It doesn't protect things like death threats. It doesn't protect calls for violence. Like, what do these people not understand at this point? And you guys know I am all about protecting our freedom of speech, 100%. But that's not what these people are doing. They're not just voicing an opinion respectfully, they're spreading misinformation in order to incite more political violence. And they are celebrating political violence, which could be seen as, promoting it and accepting it. And some of these people are even saying they want more political violence. Why would you think that speech is protected? Boycott Disney, cancel Hulu, don't let them get away with this. This is absolute BS. Disney is pulling Jimmy Kimmel's show indefinitely because he made some comments about Charlie Kirk bending the knee to fascism again. These people call everybody else fascists when the fascists are the ones looking back at them in the mirror. You can't claim to want something like an end to gun violence while simultaneously celebrating it. These are things that these people are just not understanding. And there's even people highlighting their subscriptions being canceled, like screenshotting it, and also calling out these individuals' hypocrisy. Like Brian here had previously said, I'm tired of all the boycotts and cancel culture, when now he's on board with it because he agrees with it, because it pushes his own political viewpoint. So yeah, and for my next trick, I'll get the left to boycott Disney. That is absolutely so hilarious to me, because after all these years we've been saying Disney's a really shitty company, you shouldn't trust them, and these people didn't believe us. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on this situation. I'm sure covering it again in the future, but right now everybody is boycotting Disney, everybody is mad at Disney, and it is so funny to see these meltdowns ensue over Jimmy Kimmel's indefinite suspension. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.